It started because we needed people. So we needed people for Naylor Accountancy Services, and I went to some conference or online, I can't remember what it was, webinar, and it was all about outsourcing of work from India was the way forward for accountancy firms. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be in control. So I wanted to be able to have a person who was using our systems, our processes, not somebody else's, and then we had to review it and then send it back to them. So I was talking to Dee, because then I had my office in our converted garage. So there was Dee in the office, and I think even there was another person as well. She sort of said, well, I've got a niece who is an accountant. Maybe she could work for us. So that was Christine. Then she started working for Naylor Accountancy Services. And then what happened is, as we grew, introduced more people to work for Naylor, and then we also introduced it to friends, and then it grew from there. Because what we did is we created an offshore. So we just had a small office, and then it just grew gradually. So it was a small office. I thought it was massive at the time. And now we have 3 offices in 2 different locations, which is amazing. But we started from the garage with a thought, and Dee mentioning Christine.
The idea of intelligent outsourcing came about 10 plus years ago, when one day Nikolai came back from a conference. At the time, I was working for Naylor Accountancy, and we were working in Nikolai's beautiful house. He has an office there, and he came back from one of the conferences, and he said, Dee, have you heard of outsourcing? And honestly, I have not. So I said, no, what is that? So at the time I was doing bookkeeping for Naylor Accountancy. I was doing payroll. He said, well, you don't have to do bookkeeping anymore. We will send that work somewhere else. And I said, where's that somewhere else? And he said, India. So I said, oh no, because I knew at the time that I will be the one dealing with whoever we're working with in India. And I kind of vetoed it. That's another story. And so Nikolai's like, but it's a very good idea, it's gonna alleviate some of the bottlenecks that we have. So I said, how about the Philippines, being that I have roots here, and every time I come home on holiday, I always see tarpaulins with, congratulations for passing the CPA board exam. And at the time, I had a niece and a nephew that just graduated in accounting. So I said, well, let's try the Philippines. And he kind of thought about it, and he said, oh, let's talk about that. Anyway, the rest is history. Because he researched the Philippines. He was actually saying, oh, what about Makati, which is Makati? And I said, no, absolutely not. We're not going to have an office in Manila because of the work-life balance. And I said, what about Olongapo? And I said, the old American base, which is Subic Bay. And he looked that up along with John Speed, who was partnering with us at the time. And they loved and they liked what they saw. And they came and visited, and our first office was in Magsaysay. And that's why IO started here in Subic. The biggest challenge in the early days is Nikolai and myself and John had no clue how to run an offshoring company. I can't speak for Nikolai and John because they're way smarter than me. And we only had Christine at the time, and a couple of IT developers, because we were delving in the IT side as well when we started IO. The challenge for us is how to find the right team member to assign to a client, because IO grew based on word of mouth. Because again, going back to the beginning of IO, we were only going to use the outsourcing just for Naylor Accountancy. And because it worked well for Nikolai, then he told a friend, then a friend said, hey, I'm interested, and so on and so forth. So the challenge for us in the very, very early days is to find the right accountant to assign to our client.
The biggest challenge is all the regulations in the Philippines. It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. So for us, because I don't know it, but also the time, it takes so long to do anything. If you set up an office, it takes over a year, or a year. I mean, it just takes so long when you're doing it. So everything takes a time in the Philippines. once it's set up, it's fine, but you've got to set it up. It takes so long. I mean, we had COVID, so COVID was a massive thing. So we suddenly, in the Philippines, it was draconian. So we had everybody suddenly had to work from home. And if they didn't work from home, they'd be locked up. So, because it was so draconian out there. So we had to then suddenly, we'd never done work from home. We suddenly had to get everyone working from home, get them set up, get everything set up so they could do it. Everyone was locked in their rooms with their families. So we had massive issues through that. We also had one client, a partner of Intelligent Outsourcing, had 3 people with us. And all of a sudden he said, I don't need them anymore. I can't afford them because I have hairdressers, pubs, restaurants, and they all shut down straight away, so they had no income, so they couldn't pay their accountancy fees. So all of a sudden we had 3 people. Dee and I thought, oh my goodness, we did pray about it, because we thought, oh my goodness, what's happening? Because if that happened to all of our partners, all of a sudden we'd have to shut Intelligent Outsourcing. But we just thought, let's look for someone to take these 3 people and let's just see what happens. We have no control over what's going on. And luckily he was the only partner that had such a niche. And this is a really interesting thing, because everyone says go for niches, but you've got to be careful. If you only have one niche and something like COVID happens, then you might have an issue. But I have to say, we have been lucky that people were taken on, all 3 were taken on. And then what happened was we actually grew. A year later we started growing, because everybody was wanting people in the Philippines because they spoke good English, and also they realized that not having people in the office didn't really matter as much because of COVID. So it was a growth phase for us. During COVID, at the start of COVID, we only had 27 people. At the end of it, I think we had something like 65 or something. We suddenly grew massively. And then obviously we needed more officers, so we grew it that way. And that was another issue that we had, was creating those offices so we had space for people to sit once they came off and they came back in the office. And then that was a massive issue that we had, is bringing people into COVID after COVID. During COVID we had a lot of mental health issues, because it's very difficult when you are locked up like everyone was in their homes. So we had to deal with that. We managed to get somebody doing yoga online for us, so to help on the mindset, so they did that once a week. And we did other things that we could do online and socials, just to try and make it better for the team, basically.
I'm very proud of the growth that we've had. We went from having 1 team member to now over 100, 1 office to now 3 offices. The growth plan that Nikolai has for Intelligent Outsourcing, the vision, we're really striving to achieve. I'm really, really excited as to what the future holds for Intelligent Outsourcing, especially with the help of Naylor Accountancy Group and the Exit Ready Club. Intelligent Outsourcing will be a very big part of that, and obviously that's thanks to our CEO, Nikolai.
The thing that I'm most proud of that Intelligent Outsourcing has accomplished is we've created a lot of knowledge in the Filipino team, and that's current team and past. So we've also created lots of really good leaders within Intelligent Outsourcing. That's not just the leaders that sit with me, but also the leaders that sit with team members and everything. So I'm proud of the team, and that is historic as well as now, because they have transformed themselves through working with Intelligent Outsourcing and what they've learned through working with Intelligent Outsourcing, and they're transforming Intelligent Outsourcing all the time by being with us as well, when they are with us and now that they are with us. We've got massive plans. The whole thing about Intelligent Outsourcing is about team. If it wasn't for a team, we wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for a team, we couldn't do what we do. And I was reflecting today on what my role is. And my role now is to help leaders grow and develop leaders. So we want to be multiplying the leaders we've got within Intelligent Outsourcing, and also the skill set of the team there, and allow them to develop their knowledge and skill base as much as possible. Oh, if it wasn't for the team, it wouldn't have happened. So at the start, it was Christine and Dee, and then without them, we wouldn't have had Intelligent Outsourcing. Then it was everybody else that came into the business. We've had other leaders within Intelligent Outsourcing, which they've been really great. We're actually working with one in Canada now, because she moved to Canada. So she's now within Naylor Accountancy Inc. in Canada, which is brilliant. She's on the leadership team there. Without the team, we wouldn't be able to develop it as to where we are now, or going forward. And sometimes we have to help people find the right place which may not be intelligent outsourcing for them to be, but we want to make it so that we support everybody to grow in their sort of experience and knowledge. But if without the team's everything.
I always say that without the team members, there wouldn't be any IO, right? Because they are the one that are actually doing the work. Nikolai, myself, the internal team, we're in the background. You know, we're not actually doing the service that we offer our partners. So it is integral that we have the right accountants and we have the right mindset. And so the way I see it, without the accountants, there wouldn't be IO. I'm excited about the growth that IO has, and like I said earlier, you know, from having 1 employees, we're now over 100. And I believe with the core values that we have and that Nikolai and I adhere to, and I hope that everybody does as well, that the future will be bright and exciting, you know, especially with what the Naylor Accountancy Group is doing right now. Intelligent outsourcing will be a very big part of that growth as well. So I am excited. I'm very excited with what's going to happen.
I'm excited for the future, even with AI. So with AI, I see it, as long as we keep on top of it, we've got a massive ability to make our team very good at what they do, even better than what they are now, because they'll be able to use AI within what they do. So we are experimenting with things at the moment within Naylor Accountancy Services. Once we're really happy with it there, we'll be able to offer it to our partners. But then also just the whole growth that we see for Naylor and the impact on intelligent outsourcing. And I've also the Exit Ready Club to help other accountancy firms. So the whole point of when I started my business, which is Naylor Accountancy Services, was to actually do something that was meaningful rather than working in the City of London, work for big companies which just were you felt very corporate. What I always wanted to do is help businesses and feel that we have a purpose to help them. So we are developing programs, so the Naylor Accountancy Services signature system, the NAS signature system, and also Intelligent Outsourcing signature system, and we've also got the Exit Ready Club signature system. All those are there to help business owners design a better business and get more from their business and create a value that they can actually exit on at some point, so they've actually got a good valuation from their firm and they can come out. It also means they can take holidays. It means they can actually take a decent pay or what they want to take. So we're looking at doing that, because the whole point or the purpose for me starting Naylor Accountancy Service all those years back was to help other businesses, just to help them as much as I could and feel that I was able to make a difference. Now it's not me making the difference, it's everyone else in the team making a difference. I'm blessed that I can actually bring people together that are able to do that, and that's what we wanted to grow and be able to do.
To all the team members, thank you so very much for your hard work. Without you, there wouldn't be IO. And for all our tenured team members who's been with us from the very beginning, 9, 8, 10, 11 years. Thank you so very much for your loyalty. I truly appreciate it. And to Nikolai, thank you for the opportunity to work with you and to have this job that I truly love. I'm so glad that I answered your call 12 years ago when you asked me to work for Naylor Accountancy. And I know it's fate that we met 13, 14 years ago when you gave me my first job in the United Kingdom. So thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Happy 10th anniversary, everybody in Intelligent Outsourcing. We've had 10 years. Through those 10 years, we've done so much. We've been through COVID. We've been through now this war, Iran and US war, which is actually impacting you guys in the Philippines the most, more so than we are in the UK. And we've got lots more to come as well. But thank you everybody for your time with Intelligent Outsourcing, and we look forward to having you with us for many years. Some of you have been here for lots of this journey. So we've got Christine and Dee who've been here for the full journey, the 10 years, and now and obviously me, and then we've got people who've been 7, 8 years. we're hoping that in another 10 years there'll be even more of you that have been there for at least 10 years. 10 years has gone quickly and it's grown a lot. So we have grown just from me, Dee and Christine, so 3 of us, to now we're at over 100. We're still not big in the scheme of a BPO, so in the Philippines or the world, but we are niche. We are niche in what we do. You guys are great at what you do, and we want to help develop you constantly in what you're doing. So thank you for everything that you do for us at Intelligent Outsourcing and your partners that you work with. And we look forward to the next 10 years. Bye.